So I'm back again, this time with something a little bit different. It's not quite a transformer. It is a robot that transforms, but it's more in the vein of, say, a Sentai Mecha or a Megazord. As you can see, it's four color-coded vehicles, and they will combine into a single robot. I'm going to go through these one by one, and starting with Unit 1, which I call Gigacycle. It is a motorcycle, some kind of futuristic one, kind of giant. I rather like kind of the simplistic detailing. If you look here, there's the underside of a bracket, and it sort of creates a vented intake detail, along with the shape of these pieces here in white. Looks kind of like arrows pointing forward. It kind of makes it look like a very fast thing, along with the big spoiler and the exhausts. In general, I rather like how this thing looks, and I feel like it looks very like fast and just kind of neat, even though it is very wide. I feel like it has that kind of futuristic bullet bike look. And now we're on to Unit 2. This one I call Giga Roller. Like Unit 1, it also has that kind of speedy look. It has a similar but smaller spoiler. 4 wheels. It's some kind of supercar. It doesn't really resemble any particular vehicle. I don't really know what. It's just some kind of futuristic car of some kind. I do rather like the kind of the color layering with the little the blue almost nose cone shape, then going over the white nose. And I do like how if I bring back Unit 1 for a second, as I said, they have very similar spoilers. Unit 1's is just a stud wider, so it kind of creates a uniformity, as these two kind of being the speedsters in the team. And now this is Unit 3, Giga Driller. This is kind of getting into the other two, which are more kind of beefy, tank-like vehicles. Obviously, it's got the drill up front. Unfortunately, I don't have the newer cone that actually looks like a drill, so I just had to make do with one of these plain gray ones, though there is the, I believe they call it a unicorn horn up front, which does look more drill-like. I just wish I had the larger drill piece so that it could look a little bit more complete. But as is, I don't mind. And these treads here are actually the same tires I usually use on my minifigure scale cars, just stretched around these 1x2 modified hollow plates. Overall, I rather like how this looks, and it has these two little smokestacks here, and the vents. It's kind of got a nice shape when you look at it top down. The angle of the drill kind of continues, and then it slopes back in. And I rather like how that looks. And that's about it for Unit 3. And last but not least, we have the big one, Unit 4, which is Gigatank. Now, I really like how this one looks. It's once again, it's a very futuristic-y kind of science fiction vehicle, but I just think this one looks very nice. It's got kind of this white triangular trapezoid area, and then you have the cab in the back with the little cockpit, which kind of gives it a sense of scale. When you have the big vehicle with the tiny little cockpit, it makes it look just a little bit bigger. And then on the front, you kind of have a wedge or a plow, which if it would hold together, you kind of imagine it wedging under things and plowing. And it has these little small turrets on the front section here, along with the larger main turret, which can raise and lower. Other than that, that's about it for this one. All of these are fairly simple. They're mostly just neat-looking little vehicles. And I don't know if this one's my favorite, but it might be. I really like the silhouette of this one. So now we can move on to transformation. So we will begin the transformation with Gigacycle. Now, the first thing you want to do is bring both the wheels back, and then you rotate the head, and there you go, that's it. He is a very simple component, and as you can see, he is the upper body. He's the chest. Now on to Giga Roller. He's a little bit more complicated. You want to take this top section, lift it up, pull it out a little bit from the back here, rotate it, flip it over, then rotate it, then flip it back down, and then come to the front, rotate it 180 degrees, bend it, and there you have an arm. Now on to Giga Driller. He is very similar but less complicated. On him, you want to just come underneath here, pull out this little bit here, so it's a 90-degree angle from the body. Rotate the front section 180 degrees, then rotate the cab, and you have another arm. And last but not least, we're on to Gigatank, who is the most complicated of the units to transform. And the first thing you're going to want to do is just come up to the very back of it and angle it out. Then you can take the actual cannon of the tank and just fold it backwards. Now you're going to want to take the wheels on the back and fold them out. And this will allow you to sort of bend this knee joint and start to bring out what is kind of a intake sort of shape on the side, the fin. And this will fold up and rotate on this little hinge here. Then you want to bring it around and it folds over, and then you can bring this plow around and it is a foot. And there you have a leg, and you just have to do it on the other side now. Fold out the wheel, bring down the knee, fold around the intake and wheel chunk, fold it over to be a knee pad, and then rotate around his feet, and there you have a pair of legs. And now that each component has been transformed, we can combine Giga Lander. The first thing you're going to want to do is just attach the arms, which peg onto jumpers on the side of Gigacycle, and then attach the legs, which peg on by a stud into the middle of this brick. And there you go. It is Giga Lander combined and complete. So now we have Giga Lander all combined up, and I rather like how this looks. Obviously, it has a fairly kind of Power Rangers or Sentai look with the segmented colors. And in general, I really like how he shapes up with the really tall looking shins and the once again the kind of the arrow shape here. And I also like how all of the cockpits are clearly visible. You have this one, this one, this one, and this one. Maybe this one's a little weird having it so far away. The rest are kind of close up to the core, but in general, I rather like how this looks. Now, as far as articulation goes, it's admittedly a bit limited. The head can rotate, as it did for transformation. Shoulders are on T-joints, but on this side, it's a little bit limited due to the flap here not being on the T-joint. So you can still kind of get a fair range, and you can also rotate it at this joint instead. So you can still get mostly the same range. On both of his arms, he gets a little under 90 degrees. Then at the waist, he gets a rotation. At the hips, he kind of gets nothing. His hips are too wide to really rotate forward all that much, unfortunately. I could have maybe added another couple studs of height here, but I didn't really want to compromise his silhouette for articulation. He has outward movement though, so that's fine. Then at the knee, 90-degree bend, and a ball joint at the toe. So he has some articulation, but you're not really going to be getting any incredible poses out of him, unfortunately. But I think he looks cool enough in a fairly standard pose, so I'm pretty happy with it. So as far as weapons go for this guy, what you can do is actually come here and remove the tank cannon, and Once you do that, you can actually hold it as a kind of a pistol. So he can be armed. But other than that, he just can use his drill, I guess. So that's about it for Gigalander here. I have one more video about these guys, which will come up after this. But after that, it will be right back to the regularly scheduled LEGO Transformers. So I will see you next time.